As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. Riot in the news. I thought this Washington Post headline was just very catchy. It says, League of Legends esports still hasn't turned a profit. That's okay, says Riot. Without diving into this article, because it's a pretty good article and pretty in-depth, Riot's not making money on esports, right? Who here thinks, because I think there's two camps, right? There's the camp of esports need to be a profit center, and there's a camp of esports are a marketing expense, essentially, and they need to drive more players and more spending in our game, right? And there's sort of maybe some gray area in between or some level of mix or hybrid in between. But fundamentally, I think all esports fall into one of these two categories. Riot is clearly okay with not turning a profit. Who here thinks this is the wrong strategy, the right strategy? I'm curious, right? It's the first time Riot's come out and said, we don't care if we don't make money on esports. Lindsay, any thoughts?
I'm sure that the prophet has some opinions on not making profit.
I do.
It's so hard to tell because we're not talking about like a small developer. We're talking about companies that have money. So it's like, what's the return on starting these leagues and keeping up with these leagues? It's hard for me because I still feel as if the leagues are missing the star power. So it's almost like to me, it's like a chicken and egg problem. It's like, oh, if the leagues had star power, then it'd be totally worth the marketing expense. But also if they had star power, it probably would be making money. So I just don't know that the right ingredients have been put forward for a successful esports play in which I've been like, it makes sense to waste money on this because it's great marketing, or it makes sense to make money off of this, or it makes sense because it's making money. I still feel like we're in limbo a little bit with some of the stuff that's been put forward.
Keep in mind, this article is not saying no one's making money, right?
Yeah,
it says Riot's not making money.
We are talking about, one of the biggest publishers and that hosts some of the biggest leagues.
But meaning some of the League of Legends teams may be making money, right? We don't. This article is very specific in that they're talking about Riot, the company, as the provider and of the league and as the architect of the league, is not making a profit on the league, and they're okay with it.
But to Lindsay's point, it's still half a story, right? Because we don't know if that's the league esports is funneling business for in-game purchasable items in league for the casual gamer, right? Maybe it's just a market, like she said, maybe it's just a marketing vehicle where all of their other users see their favorite gamers playing, buying this in-game item, and then they want to buy it too. And for Riot, for Red Bull, it makes sense to field, this car because we know we're going to sell more drinks, right? And maybe the car is not profitable, but we're going to make up for it on the other side. I'm only enhancing Lindsay's point in that we don't know what type of business vehicle the esports league is for Riot. I also want to know how they're what they're measuring in terms of, do they consider profit just the team buy-in, that $10 million, what have you, for the league spot? I mean, it's just hard for me to fathom that with not just with all these teams that are being fielded, but then the sponsors that they're getting, the seats and the ticket revenue for the live events minus, the last 2 years. It's just crazy to me to think that it's not turning a profit. But again, it just doesn't seem like this one vertical to them needs to be profitable to have a profitable business if it's driving revenue somewhere else. We don't know the second half of that story, so I just feel like it's hard to say that this is okay or not. It's half a story.
I think my view, and you guys may be surprised, this Riot not being profitable on League of Legends esports is the crux of the genius behind League of Legends esports. It's single-handedly what Riot gets that Activision Blizzard and Bobby Kotick don't get whatsoever, are completely ignorant about. And that is fundamentally the success of League of Legends, I think in large part has been driven by the competitive scene, right? You have 100 million plus people watch League of Legends World Championships. Today you have 180 million League of Legends players, right? These people spend, and the competitive scene encourages them to spend, encourages them to unlock new heroes, and encourages all these kind of good things for the business. And I think Riot was really smart, and I don't know if this was very purposeful internally. I suspect it was, to say, we don't care if we make money here, right, as a company. What we care is that the ecosystem we build, the esports ecosystem, thrives, survives, does well, right? And it wasn't about, because I think, and I'm sure all of you would agree, Riot could have gone out and sold $50 million league spots. Does anyone disagree with that? That they could be charging $50 million for a league spot and probably would have had 10 to 20 buyers, no questions asked. Instead, what's the spot in league going for these days, right? 10 to 15 million kind of range, directly from Riot at least. And so I think they've made a conscious decision to say, we don't need this to be a profit center. Instead, we want the owners to make money, the teams to make money, the players to make money, right? The sponsors to make money, that the health of the ecosystem comes before them making a direct profit from esports there. And instead focus on how does the esports scene help them drive profit elsewhere. I think it's a really mature decision. It's really brilliant. Activision Blizzard fundamentally does not understand this, and it's why League esports have succeeded and Activision Blizzard esports have failed. I think this is the crux of it, other than the people and some of the other issues. But like this, to me, this is the core of the issue. I don't know if anyone.
Well, I think you're right. I mean,
but
there are other I don't think it's. I would like to see, what I would like to understand a little bit more is like, this is sort of a clickbaity headline and like a very easy thing for them to throw around. Like, I would like to understand why it's not profitable. Like, is it, where is the money being spent? Because to Jimmy's point, there is a lot of money coming in, between the team, not the team sales, between like the sponsorships, the streaming rights, all that. Like, where is the money going? And I'm not doubting that this is a bad business practice. Like Riot, there are plenty of studies out there that show, having a vibrant esports scene is good marketing. You bring players in, you bring the casual players in, as Jimmy said, more payer penetration. Like Riot Games is making more money because their League of Legends scene and their competitive esports scene is big. So the enterprise overall is doing better. So I'm fine with that as a business strategy. But just as someone who, all of us who work in the esports ecosystem, I'd like to understand where the money in the value chain is going. Just out of curiosity, right? Because doesn't make me feel great that they're not making money, unless it's like, hey, we could be making money if tomorrow we flipped XYZ switch and, we didn't do this in big stadiums. We instead did it in just totally making up an example. We did it here, or we didn't pay the players this, we paid them this, we'd be making tens of millions. Like, I just want to understand like what choices they're making and why they're making them. Because just to say, hey, it's not profitable, like I agree with everything you guys just said, but I'd like to know more.
I mean, Jeff, I totally agree with you, but my suspicion, I'll say I know, I can almost guarantee this is true, is that they have all the levers they need to turn a profit. This is a conscious decision, and it's not a question of where's the money coming from, where is it not coming from, how much are they spending, how much. I think a lot of it's just what are the economic splits, right? You could easily be giving 80% of all ad revenue or all sponsor revenue to the team's owners, right? And say tomorrow, well, instead of 80, I want to give them 50, and now I'm turning a profit, right? And so I think this is very much a conscious decision, and that with a few levers, they could very much be turning a profit. Again, what impresses me is that because I think it's a conscious decision, that's the part that impresses me. That they could.
Okay, fair, but let me let me I guess I will break it down, well, because I think you're right. You probably are right. That split is probably, and to your point, juxtapositioning them versus Activision and how Activision has treated the ecosystem and the owners. It's an interesting point, and maybe you're absolutely right. But what I would like to know, and I think I already know the answer, or you sort of said it, is the pie, if we take revenue coming in from like outside sources, sponsors, streaming rights, whatever, bigger than the amount that's spent from the league, like team salaries, owners, like I don't care where like how this pie is divided, but is this pie bigger than this outflow?
Do you
right?
count,
Because then
do you count outflow as like what Riot's giving to team owners or things as a cut of revenue that's coming in for them?
For this, no. I guess I'm basically just saying, like, would if instead of, you know, Riot being its own company or whatever, if it was like the NFL, like the NFL is obviously profitable, you know, but the league itself doesn't.
If Riot, you know, it's like didn't also make the game, they absolutely would be a profitable company in my mind. If that answers your question, right? Like I think if they were a third party operator who weren't picking up revenue in anywhere else, right? They could absolutely make this a profitable scene. And I think I sort of proved my point when I said, could they be charging $50 million for a spot, right? We're talking 3 times what they're selling spots for.
Yeah. And I think Greg actually picked up kind of what I was asking and what you were saying. Like, I think that was sort of what I was getting at, was like, is the ecosystem profitable? And it sounds like what you're saying is yes, which is sort of what matters.
Even if they're not, what's happening in the league ecosystem that's not happening in Overwatch or Call of Duty is the team values are steadily increasing based on their league slot, right? The value of that league slot's going up. And so even if the teams themselves aren't turning an accounting like profit, there's still an increase in value overall. Antonio says Activision Blizzard thumbs down. I agree, Antonio. We're getting to Activision Blizzard news. We're going to get to it. This is going to be a painful one for them. Greg says the profit's right. The real question is, are the teams making money? Yeah, we just discussed that. If we heard all the teams were losing money, we would be more concerned. Yes, except if we knew that all of them were going up in value as a consequence of owning a league slot, right? If they were all,
or at least revenues are going up. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You know, they could choose to reinvest it or whatnot. But
yeah.